All right, I'm looking up here and I say, okay, how many seconds are in 1.4 days? As I look at my plan, I need to go from days to hours. Well, what's my conversion factor, days to hours? 24 hours in one day. Then I need to go hours to minutes. How many minutes in an hour? 60. How many seconds in a minute? 60. So I just have to use that knowledge to put my conversion box in the correct way. So as I put my first up there, I have 24 hours on the top, 1 day on the bottom, so that my days cancel. What's my next conversion factor going to be? What's on top? What's on bottom? What's on top? What's on bottom? Who's got it? Jacob's got it. What is it, Jacob? What's on top? 60 minutes on top, 1 hour on the bottom. Okay. Now, let me go back here. So, I'm going to agree with Jacob, and I'm going to say 60 minutes on top. My bottom of my conversion box is going to be 1 hour. So I get a cancellation of hours. Now, what's my final step going to be? I need another step because I've now converted this into minutes. Did I want minutes? I wanted seconds, right? So what goes on the top? What goes on the bottom? What's on my top now? Okay. 60 seconds. What's on bottom? 1 minute. So I get a cancellation there. What is my final label? Seconds. So my answer is going to be seconds. How am I going to calculate this final answer? Okay, let's see, what is it? Braddock? Okay, how am I going to calculate that? Multiply all the top numbers. So I'm going to take 1.4, times it by 24, times it by 60, times it by 60 again. And when I do so, I'm going to get 1, 2, 0, 9, 6, 0. Now, we have not discussed significant figures in here, so I am just going to leave it at that right now. Once we discuss significant figures, it's going to make it a difference because we would only have 2 significant figures here. But like I said, we have not done significant figures yet, so we won't worry about that until later on. Now, here's the final one. I want you to look at this, and I want you to tell me what's wrong here. Connor, what's wrong here?
Second one should have 24 hours on the top and 1 day at the bottom.
This one right here. 24 hours on the bottom, 1 day at the top. Do I get a cancellation here? No, I do not. So based on my factor label method, I've done something wrong because my labels do not cancel. Folks, this is why it's important to show your work. Okay? What I call them is pluggers. Pluggers, people that just want to plug numbers into their calculators. Now, if I just plugged 1.4 and then divided it by 24, then multiplied by 60 and multiplied by 60, can I see that I set it up wrong? No. So by writing out and showing your work, you can find mistakes if you make them. Because you come up here and you say, okay, I'm going to get a cancellation here. So my day is going to cancel with my, oh, wait a second. Day doesn't cancel with hour. I did something wrong here. I did something wrong here. So you can find your own errors. If you just plug numbers into your calculator, can you do that? No. I've been doing this for many, many years, people. I've been doing this for many, many years. If I'm doing these problems, I'm still writing them out exactly like that, doing the boxes. Do I get going too fast, make errors? Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. If I write out my work, I can prevent errors from happening. Now let's talk about some new stuff here. We talked about conversions. We're going to deal with today, our objective is to learn how to go back and forth from English to metrics, metrics to English. So if you would, go ahead and write this down. Once you do, take out your agenda and open it to 134. 134 of your agenda once you get this copied down. English and metric conversions. It says here you must memorize and use these conversions. Mass, 454 grams is equal to 1 pound. 2.54 centimeters is equal to 1 inch in length. Volume, 0.946 liters are equal to 1 quart. Now, I told you some places you can find this. It is in your agenda on page 134 and 135. So if you would look at those pages, you can find some of these things. Metric and English conversions. So you're going to need to use this, especially with the worksheet that you have tonight. You're going to have to use your agenda. Now, what if you didn't have your agenda? Where else could you find this? You don't have your agenda with you. Where else can you find it? Yeah, you could get online and type it in. Okay? How many grams are in 1 pound? You'd do that and find it online if you didn't have your agenda. Not a big deal. But it's just real easy to use that agenda because most people have them with them anyway. Now here's a learning check. An adult human has 4.65 liters of blood. How many gallons is that? How many gallons of blood is that? I'll give you a second here to write it down, and then we'll answer it. Now, on my learning check, I start out with 4.65 liters. I make my conversion box. I want liters to cancel, so I know that 0.946 liters make up 1 quart. That's a pretty ugly 1 quart, so let me redo that. 1 quart. My liters will cancel. Now my second step. Tells me that I need to go from quarts to gallons. Well, I know that 4 quarts is 1 gallon. So when I'm doing my math, I multiply by the top and I divide by the bottom. So what do I get my answer to be? When I come up with my answer here, that is not right. Because I plugged in the wrong numbers. What'd you get? How many gallons? Once again, I don't have sig figs yet. I have 1.229 gallons. I didn't sig fig it. I did not sig fig it. But 4.65 liters of blood is equal to 1.229 gallons. So I did a metric to English, and then I did an English to English conversion. Now, just to show you the equalities here, okay, if I'm looking at that top ruler, and that top ruler is inches, I'm reading that as 10 inches right there. Now, if I'm reading it at the bottom, okay, I'm reading that as 10.0 inches. It's right on the line. If I'm looking at that in millimeters, it would be 254, but in centimeters, which is moving it one to the left, I get 25.4 centimeters. So, depending on how I am measuring, what tool I'm measuring with, is the equality. It's the same length. They are equal. 10 inches is equal to 25.4 centimeters. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Now go ahead and write these down, and we'll talk about them. I put these in this presentation because a lot of the times people want step-by-step directions on what you need to do. Now this is no different than what we have just been doing. It just points it out. First, you read the problem and you identify the data that is given to you. You make a unit plan from the initial unit to the desired unit. So it's kind of your game plan on how you're going to proceed to get your units to cancel out. You then need to select your conversion factors so that your initial unit is changed into your desired units. You cancel the units to check to make sure that you set up your conversion factors correctly. After you've canceled the units out and it's all jiving good, you do the math on your calculator, and finally you calculate your answer with the significant amount of figures. So this is just basically concrete directions planning out the conversion factors that you probably do in your head, but it's just something to refer back on to if you get stuck.